Good morning. Morning, Christine.
Hey, how's it going?
Want to thank you all for joining this Facebook Live, no longer a webinar on how to elevate live storytelling. This morning we decided to call an audible, and instead of doing a webinar on the traditional stuffy webinar platforms that we used to use, doing it on Facebook Live, powering the entire thing through Tagboard, which we're going to show you in a little bit, and using some software from our good friends at Switcher Studio as well.
Only felt appropriate to drink a little bit of our own juice and do it through about what we're about to show you.
Absolutely. So the content today is about staying flexible when producing live real-time content, and how you can easily create and iterate on your visual story when you're broadcasting on TV or on a live stream or live in venue. Before we dig in, a couple quick housekeeping items. So be sure to ask questions in the comment section on the right of your screen. Kira from our marketing team is going to be helping moderate there, so feel free to give her any slack that you want. And if we don't get to your question, we're going to try to follow up with them afterwards, whether it's on a blog or directly with you through Facebook. A recording of this is going to be available and will be shared with anybody who registered for the webinar. We'll also be posting it on the Tagboard blog, and you can watch it over and over again at your leisure.
I'm sure you all will.
So I know we're competing with the Michael Cohen hearing right now, so I don't blame you if you're not watching this live. We are excited for you to watch it on demand. Video on demand, also the wave of the future.
I don't blame you one bit for making that choice, but for those of you who are with us live, we're glad you're here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, let's talk a little bit about storytelling. So, one of my favorite topics, obviously one of yours too, it's at the intersection of social, technology, and media, so even better for us, that's what we do, that's what we love. And I figured who better to talk about this than our resident expert, Christine. Lots of hardware to back it up. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning. I'll let you talk about me, but I, for those of you who I haven't met, I come from a TV background. I used to work in live local news, and so, you know, live TV, bread and butter, and it's kind of my passion and what I love. But the idea of being able to produce content live using Tagboard and some of the tools we're about to show you, just the flexibility of it, I'm super, super excited.
Awesome. And I'm Kevin Shively. I'm the VP of Marketing here. I don't have 3 Emmys like Christine does, but I've spent almost 2 decades as a storyteller. I was a sports writer and a newspaper journalist for a long time, been blogging for a long time. I wrote a book, and over the last 10 years, I've been working in social tech, watching the mediums that we use to tell stories change. So very excited to dig into this topic and talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we've been doing here at Tagboard to really shape the way people are telling stories across live stream and broadcast and in venue situations using user-generated content and also some really flexible new tools that we've just launched called Smart Panels.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of feedback from some of our amazing partners. I really wish I could do this. I really wish I could do, you know, X, Y, and Z. And our amazing engineers and product team took a lot of your feedback and were able to build it into some of the tools we're about to show you.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dig in. We're going to start with a quick agenda here. First of all, we're going to talk about how storytelling has changed over the years, why interactive and user-generated content improves storytelling, and how you can keep your audiences engaged. Then we're going to show you actually how Tagboard Smart Panels and Producer can improve your linear storytelling, then share some tips for making the most out of your story. So some stuff that we've seen from some of our customers and some of our internal teams working with them, and how that can improve the experience for your audience. So, we missed one here? Oh, okay. Anyway, so it wouldn't feel right to talk about storytelling without actually telling you a story. So I figured that would be a good place to start. So for years, and much to the detriment of my coworkers here at Tagboard, who I will not perform for, I did stand-up comedy and spent a lot of time in gross, disgusting comedy clubs, telling jokes to, for the most part, other comedians, but then a lot of times people who were drunk and hammered and sitting there heckling you. And sometimes I wouldn't be prepared for that. And so somebody would come in and they would just be throwing dirt at me, and it would catch me off guard, get me on my heels, and I would not respond well. But sometimes if I went on later in the night, or if I saw the guy heckling the person in front of me, I would be able to come up with a good way to come back at him and a good way to interact and make it an interesting experience and exciting for everybody there. And I think one of the biggest things that I took away from that is that when it comes to real-time content and delivering a message on the fly, you can still prepare for that. Even if there are hiccups that are happening in the middle of it, you can be ready for it. You can make sure you're set up for success, even though it's going to change as you're going.
Yeah, I have never been a stand-up comic. The fortunate thing for everybody around me, for more of the live production side, for any of you guys who have sat in a newsroom or sat in a control room, you've been there when a news director, an EP is telling you, I've got a great photo, get it on air next. And there isn't really an easy way to necessarily do that. Or, if you're a game day producer and something happens in the middle of the audience and you just have to get it on the Jumbotron immediately, or you've got a huge break and how on earth do I fill 30 minutes of time because I've got to take this huge time out and there's a rain delay. Looking for solutions to make your story more engaging and to leverage people who are telling your story and do it in the unexpected. We all have plan A, B, C, D, E, and when we get down to the end of the alphabet, that's where we want to be able to help you.
Absolutely. So let's talk about staying flexible and being able to adapt on the fly. I want to bring in somebody new that we have on the squad here at Tagboard. So, Christine, I think you put together a graphic. Let's show people behind the scenes here. Drop that in really quick, and we want to welcome Sky to the broadcast.
Right on. How's it going, everybody? Just squeeze on in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just catch me on my good side over
right.
On the right side.
There we go.
Awesome.
Sky, what's going on?
Not too much. Had a busy weekend down in LA. There was a small event going on.
Little event called the Oscars.
And so our good friends at E Network did 8.5 hours of live coverage. Crazy.
Small day.
Just a small day.
And you were there helping out in the truck.
Yeah, helping out in the truck, using producer to feature content, social integration, telling stories from the celebrities as they were getting ready in the morning, to as they were getting ready to go to the show, and then after the show. So there was just a lot of moving parts throughout the day. We didn't know who was going to post, where they were going to post. The rundown was laid out really well down to the second. But so many different things happened throughout the day. You know, somebody has a really good post. Spike Lee was super active on Instagram.
His family was awesome.
His family was praying, and it was awesome. And stuff that wasn't prepped to go in the show, all of a sudden was going to go into this show. And we had to be flexible. And because anchors and reporters and producers hosts are going to take the show in 5 million different directions. Right. And so you got to be ready when they do take it in those directions.
Awesome. So, and you come from a broadcast background. You were a sports director.
Definitely. Yeah, I came from 6 years in TV as a sports director down in Oregon, and wish I had Tagboard at that time because I was doing a lot of tedious work to get a post on the air. But yeah, you just know from whether you're doing live shots and somebody all of a sudden your anchor drops oh yeah, you remember so and so posted this morning on their Instagram account. And you wish at that moment you could pull up something. Well, now you can with Tagboard, and I didn't have that ability when I was down there. But yeah, just from being on the air in all these different situations, it was always the understanding that you just kind of embrace the chaos, and it's nice to have as many tools around you to keep things looking smooth as possible. And that's what I've seen with Tagboard, and that's what I saw at the Oscars.
Awesome.
I don't know if it's story time to tell about stuff that was going on down there.
If you got a good one.
Got a good one. So, for instance, we were down there live on the red carpet, interviews happening over here, interviews happening over there, a lot of moving parts, producers yelling all over the place about who we have and where we go. And nothing's really organized in that moment of, at least to a degree, it's not organized. Right. As much as a tape show would be organized. And so you have Seacrest doing interviews, starts talking to Melissa McCarthy, and unplanned, unprompted, he asked her about breakfast she had this morning that was made by Richard Grant. And sure enough, that got posted earlier in the morning on Instagram by Ben Falcone, and that's how Seacrest knew about it. And all of a sudden, producer in the truck is like, Tagboard, we need this post. And within seconds after Ryan asked the question, we're able to flash the Instagram post on the air.
You and Ryan are on the first name basis.
Yeah, Ryan and I are on the first name basis.
Tight.
Yeah, super tight. He knows me as much as I know him. And And that just kind of shows the flexibility that the producer tool has as far as just being able to, within seconds, find the post, feature the post, and integrate it. And even the payoff is you get a reaction from, Melissa McCarthy in this situation of like, oh my gosh, yeah, like those were the best eggs I've ever had. Look at the picture and all this stuff. So I mean,
it makes it a part of the experience.
Exactly.
So when you're able to be that reactive, regardless of whether it's with Tagboard or just stuff that you've prepared in the truck.
Oh gosh,
having that ready to go and having that interaction, so it's part of the moment as opposed to something that looks like it was tacked on at the end.
Exactly.
Makes it so much more exciting.
And how much better is the moment too when we're not just hearing someone talk about the breakfast they had this morning, but we can visually see the breakfast they had this morning, right? It's not like he's got cameras in all these people's houses watching them get ready and stuff, but technically they do, because all these celebrities have their cameras on their phones that are posting, and now Tagboard can show that stuff on the air.
Awesome. So finally a practical use for all the
practical
Instagram
use.
breakfast photos.
Exactly. That's we've been waiting for it, the old man yelling at cloud like situation where it's like, I don't want to go on those social accounts because everyone just posts the toast they had in the morning.
Right.
Now we're using those
now
posts.
We got the
exactly.
toast.
It's awesome.
Perfect.
So that's one example. Their after show was super chaotic, and it was just a lot of social content and stuff from some of the celebrities going to the different Governor's Ball and Vanity Fair and stuff like that. And the rundown was like, here's the 5 topics we know we want to touch. We don't know what order those are going to come in. So within Tagboard Producer, I had laid out 5 separate kind of buckets of, okay, here's the Jason Momoa scrunchy stuff. Here's the Spike Lee content. And so as they were, I was kind of staying nimble within Producer as they were, being flexible on the show of taking it in 5 different directions. And it was just super easy to be able to be like, oh, Sky, we want this one. No, we want this one ordered in front of that one.
Awesome.
And it was just like, boom. It was too easy. Life can be difficult sometimes in live production of just like trying to stay on top of it. But it was easy. I felt I was just smooth sailing.
Nice.
It was nice. It was good stuff.
Thanks for jumping in.
Yeah, of course.
That's awesome story. Awesome to hear your background too, and just how things have shifted.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm addicted to the live events, and so it was fun to kind of get back into it.
Nice. Oh, I'm sure Christine will send you on more. So.
Perfect. Right on. I'm ready to go.
Perfect.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
man.
All right, I'm gonna slide out.
All right. And there we go. Nice. Live
Slide
on the
back
fly.
in.
Let's go. Sweet. Well, that was awesome to hear from Sky. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the shift in media and how things have changed. So, as I mentioned, I come from a journalism background in newspapers and radio, traditional media. And Christine, you come from traditional television as well.
Yep.
And kind of as we were moving through that space, some interesting things happened. So social media started to become more prominent. It also started to become a source of content, a source of entertainment, and most importantly for you, a source of news. So this became a need to integrate that into your broadcast and figure out how you bring this social content, how you find this social content, and make it part of the story.
Yeah, it's no longer just Joe Schmo and his toast. It's our president announcing policy changes on Twitter. It's our local police and fire having their press conferences over Facebook Live instead of in person. There's just valuable, and it's your eyewitness viewers who live where your live trucks can't get you, but
Right.
they have amazing content that you can just leverage.
We saw that recently with the earthquakes in Alaska, where there weren't a lot of news trucks to begin with, but then it was also hard to get there. So being able to source that content and bring it into the broadcast is a huge priority, and it's kind of where we are now. So we see this across the NBA or March Madness, where we're able to pull in reactions from back at the schools as the teams are playing. We're able to do this with news, as you mentioned, exciting policy changes that happen across Twitter, and breaking news events that we need footage from quick in the newsroom in order to get that news in front of the people it matters to.
Exactly, and even beyond news, it's sports, being able to leverage the stories that your athletes are telling, your fans are telling, to put them all over your connected screens in stadium. It's businesses being able to leverage their employees' stories and to showcase their employees and let them tell the story of the company. So no matter what kind of media you have, it doesn't have to be solely linear TV or local news.
Right.
I know that's kind of my bread and butter, but it really crosses no matter what kind of screen you have.
Well, and we see it, you see that in sports stadiums, you see it in live events all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So let's chat a little bit about this next slide. So I want to share a little bit about why we see this happening. And I'm not going to throw a lot of stats at you, but there are a couple we want to share. First of all, every single piece of footage is captured. So up in Alaska, we saw video footage across Snapchat and Twitter of the earthquake. When there's unfortunately a school shooting or another tragic event, we see people capturing that on their cell phones. If there's good stuff, we see that as well. So 3.1 billion people are using social media. Everything is captured. They're always taking things, and then it's shared. So more video is uploaded in the US in the span of 30 days than the major US TV networks have created in the last 30 years. That's crazy.
Outrageous.
Yeah. Considering how much content we feel like we consume on TV too, the fact that that's happening within a month's time frame on social is crazy.
And oftentimes that video it's more organic, it's more raw, it's people who happen to be in the right place at the right time rather than someone who was sent out or dispatched after the moment. So it's as raw and as organic as oftentimes you'll get.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a big part of the reason we're on social media as humans and consumers of information to begin with, is you get those diverse perspectives, kind of that raw look at what's happening. And it's all happening in real time. So I think that's a great quote from Peter Alexander. Information is nearly instantaneous due to social media, and the news cycle is becoming lightning fast as a result. So it's happening on Twitter. News organizations and entertainment organizations need to keep up with those things.
Yeah, it's constantly changing. It's organized chaos, if you will.
Kind of organized. Awesome. So, and even if you're not a news organization, audience engagement is important, and being able to bring this into your content is huge. So, you probably want to see the slide. Live, real content, guys. So, raving fans who are excited about your brand, your sports team, your TV show, your entertainment property, spend 6 times more money than casual fans. That's huge. 1.2K% of user-generated content is trusted 1,200% more than commercial content, and Kevin is bad at reading percentages. 68% of people feel more secure about purchase decisions based on user-generated content. So by leveraging user-generated content, tapping into this social content, you are inherently adding value for your brand by putting other people's opinions behind it. So I'm going to trust something that Christine shares with me much more than I'm going to trust something from a branded social handle from a website, because I know you, I trust you. In most cases, your opinions are good. So it makes more sense to trust your opinion if I'm going to go buy a pair of shoes than it does this ad that I was served up.
Yeah, there's an inherent trust and loyalty among fans who share a kindred spirit, so it makes sense. I wouldn't necessarily trust my own shoe judgment, but more power to you.
Yep. So as we mentioned too, we recently launched a new product called Smart Panels, which allows users of Tagboard Producer to be flexible with the content that they're publishing. So along with the social content that they're used to being able to publish with Tagboard, you can now pull other types of things in. So you saw the countdown at the beginning, but Christine is going to spend some time walking through that. First, we want to give you a quick precursor, show you a couple very short videos of these products so you get an idea of what we're going to be talking about here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, halo.
So that was a quick example of Tagboard
5,
Producer.
4,
And this is that same example again of how you can produce awesome content. The example at the end there was from Telemundo's Latin Billboard Awards, bringing this content directly into the entertainment experience or the news experience or whatever it is that you're producing. And last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess it was at this point, we launched Smart Panels. So here's a quick clip of what that looks like. Woo! I just kind of want a drum line playing behind me all day long. That was pretty sweet. So that was all well and good. Those were very nice, well-polished videos. But we're talking about real time here. We're talking about all of the things that you can do on the fly. And one of the first things I want to call out is that this entire display so far has been run through Producer and through Smart Panels. There's no slideware here. These are all Smart Panel graphics that we've been sharing, including the YouTube videos are being powered directly through Tagboard Producer. So as opposed to sharing some more slick produced videos like that, figured we would dive into the back end and show you exactly how this works. And obviously Christine is going to run this because she is the expert here and I would completely botch it. But let's jump over there.
Alrighty, so the view you guys are looking at right now, if you don't join all of our webinars, this is the back end of Tagboard Producer. So a little bit of a peek under the hood here. If you guys have ever used any kind of linear editing software, you know, an iMovie or an Avid or a Final Cut, this probably looks a little familiar to you. You have a timeline of content down here at the bottom. You can see all the slides pre-curated here that Kevin and I have been telling our story with. Over on the right side, you're going to have your preview window, which is the output that you guys have only been seeing up to this point full screen here. And on the left, all different kinds of content. You know, really quick little look into Producer if this is new for you. We have custom built graphics so that you guys can, you know, we can create customized graphics for you. Say, for example, we got a March Madness graphic here. We have your social content. Of course, we're never going to get rid of the social content here. I can go ahead and I can grab a tweet that I have prepared down there at the bottom. And you can start to tell your story. We talked a lot earlier about the flexibility of being able to have a plan A, B, C, D, and E. This is where you get that flexibility. If I wanted to jump forward and back and, you know, be able to be listening to my anchor who's ad-libbing on the fly and follow along, or to be in the middle of halftime at the game day show and I don't know what I'm going to need until the moment I need it, no problem. It's easy to cue that up on the fly. And then, of course, the new piece that, you know, we're so excited to share today, and that's the Smart Panels. So I want to do a little bit of a deeper dive into what Smart Panels are, how we can create them. So what you're looking at here is kind of the start of what we envision becoming a marketplace of Smart Panels. And, you know, you've always probably thought of Tagboard as more leveraging social media. You know, we tap into all of the networks we know and love, you know, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and YouTube and Flickr. This is going to leverage a lot more than just social content. You're going to be able to tell a complete engaging story using one platform rather than having to tab back and forth between all of the different platforms that you know, may currently live inside.
Christine, let me interrupt real quick and tell us a bit about what it's like to piecemeal together a bunch of different pieces of software in a production room.
Yeah, if you guys have, some of you are probably, yes, we've been there before. You know, whether it's a bunch of different tabs open, whether it's some software, some hardware, and figuring out, you know, your Bezor of cords that connect them all, or whether it's buying really, really expensive equipment that can speak to each other. You know, no matter how you're doing it, it can be complicated, it can be pricey, it can require more than one person. You know, it can require an entire team of people who each are dedicated to one task. You know, this is a way that allows you to do a lot of things you're already probably doing, but within one dashboard, within one tab, within one space, and it's all web-based. So if you have a laptop or an iPad or a phone, you know, you can take it with you. You don't need all sorts of crazy equipment. You know, we can certainly link into your equipment that you have, all of your professional equipment, whether it's in your stadium or in your broadcast control room, in your office,
or a conference room. We're doing this all from one laptop here. Like we're not powering this with a big production room behind the scenes here.
Yeah, so it's how can we be nimble but incredibly flexible and incredibly powerful.
Yep.
So you'll see here a few different smart panel options, you know, to show you guys kind of how easy it is on the fly. I'll go ahead and I'll just start with a basic graphic. I say we like I had any part in this. Our amazing product team built out this awesome builder, and it's really intuitive. You know, I could go ahead and just build my test smart panel. You have a graphics uploader, so you can go ahead and upload graphics here. Let's say I want to keep with my March Madness theme and go ahead and just grab this photo. One second here, my Wi-Fi would work. But this isn't my photo, so I do need to add a credit onto this photo. We got a lot of feedback from people saying, hey, it takes my editors so long to burn in a courtesy or to render that through the graphics system. So simple to just add a graphics attribution now. You can place that on the screen exactly where you need it to be. If you want to change the corner it's on, you know, obviously you would probably make this a lot more beautiful than I probably am right now, but you can see all the customizations options over on the left-hand side. This is as simple as it gets with just a basic graphic. We'll go ahead and we'll save this. But if I jump back over, you'll see we have all different kinds of options, whether it's a call to action where you want to put something up on your screen, you know, your Jumbotron with a call to action to your fans, to your viewers. You saw us use the YouTube panel earlier to show you guys those videos. You even saw the countdown timer if you were joining us, you know, eager to join the webinar before we began, saw that running. All of these have their own builder that you can walk through step by step and customize exactly how this looks, how this feels. You don't need to do any crazy coding on your end. It doesn't require you to have any back-end skills to be able to do this. We built this so grandma should be able to come in here and build a beautiful smart panel, and it's all instant.
My grandma is constantly building smart panels.
I knew it.
She loves them. Loves them.
So if I jump back over to producer, there's my smart panel right here that we just went ahead and created. I can even just drag it full screen down onto my timeline here, and I have a full screen photo, as if my editor, you know, it's a no editor needed photo. Editors, I'm not trying to take away your job. I want you guys to be able to work on, you know, beautiful pieces and in the fun stuff, rather than spending your time burning in courtesies into photos or putting together slideshows. You know, in the moments when you need this to happen quickly, that's where this tool will shine. I want to show you guys a few different examples of smart panels that we created, so you don't have to watch me build them all on the fly. I'll stick with the March Madness kind of theme that we had going, just to help you, you know, start to get the creative wheels turning on, okay, that product looks cool and all, but what on earth could I do with it? So popping up a few different examples. Here's one. This is our basic countdown. This is running a countdown to Selection Sunday, really similar to what you guys...
I can't wait. So excited.
Clearly, we're eager for this over here. This could be a countdown to tip off on your Jumbotron or your connected screens in Stadium. We have broadcast bug versions of this for any corner. It could be counting down to the start of, you know, Cohen's testimony, counting down till polls are closing, counting down if you guys are doing sports shows. It could be fun things. It could be serious things. It could be something that you run on a connected screen in your office. You know, we have countdowns. We're big movie fans here. We have countdowns running in the office, counting down to movie premieres. You know, things to get your employees talking when they're walking by connected screens. It could be internal, external, you know, and they're all interactive. You simply set an end time and it's going to run through, you know, once you set it, it's kind of a set it and forget it kind of thing. Another one I want to call attention to is you saw examples of, you know, social posts earlier.
One of the questions we get a lot is, gosh, I want to incorporate a sponsor right in the middle of my social content, to be able to weave this sponsor logo as if it were part of the social conversation. Smart panels will give you such an easy avenue to be able to do that. You know, you saw me earlier drag and drop that smart panel down onto my timeline with this photo example here, where it's full screen. It's seamless, it's as if I've edited it. You can also put these smart panels onto your actual graphics. So imagine being able to leverage this as, you know, a profit center for you, to be able to bring your sponsorships in. And it's powerful to tell your sponsor, you know, you're not going to just be a full screen banner. You're going to be woven in to be part of the conversation that our loyal fans are having, that they're a part of. And that only adds more, you know, power and weight to the sponsor that you guys are leveraging here.
One of the things I love about that is how powerful that is for the sponsor. Like being able to be a part of that conversation as opposed to just having your logo on, you know, on a wall, on a screen. Like you're now the voice of that conversation. You're powering the voice of the fan who could immediately become a customer of yours.
Yes, and I'm sure your guys' graphics would be a lot more beautiful than my Your Sponsor logo here. But you can understand the idea of what that would look like. A few other options, you know, starting to really branch out. How can we do things that are engaging and different? You know, if you think about what your company or what your role, what's your goal? Do you want more people to download your app? Do you want more people to be watching your linear program and looking at something that you have on your website at the same time? Are you guys trying to drive up ticket sales in your stadium? Do you want, you know, what is the end goal for you? We have a way to leverage that through smart panels. So I've just created a graphics panel here using a QR code. Hey, scan to enter your March Madness bracket. It could be in stadium, scan this to secure your playoff tickets. It could be on broadcast, scan this to download our station's app. It could, you know, sky's the limit as far as where this QR code directs your viewers or your fans or your employees to go. But kind of starting to think of this as a way, what's your end goal? Where do you want people who you see your screen to end up? And how can we use this screen to actually achieve that by driving them somewhere that benefits you?
That's exactly right, too. If we're talking about interactive content, that you need to be thinking through that two-way interaction. So how am I prompting them? How are they interacting? How are we then taking that back and bringing it into the story, as opposed to just we're going to display some social content. We need that back and forth interaction if it's going to be a true relationship with our audience.
Yeah, gone are the days where people just sit and look at the screen and take it in. You know, now you're asking your viewers to interact with it. They're probably already holding their smartphones in their hands.
Right.
So scanning something like the QR code is easy. If it's following your social accounts, it could be, you know, a snap code. It could be your Facebook, your username to be able to follow you. There's so many different options. If you have a certain goal that you're trying to achieve and you're like, I have no idea what to put up on my screen, that is my favorite part of the job. So drop it in a comment or reach out to us because we'd love to help you brainstorm. One last example I wanted to bring up is from our Tagboard export and office comedian as our example. This can be a platform now that allows you to run in-house graphics. You know, I realize that for most TV stations that are joining on, you guys have full amazing control rooms. But for example, your live streams, when you're live streaming, you don't have, you know, a huge cache of people who are ready to do this, graphics artists. You can actually create and run an entire live stream with professional graphics that are running through smart panels. You know, this is a smart panel that would be keyable with a chroma key, more as a lower third or a name mat. So, you know, any kind of graphics, whether they're full screen, whether they're lower third, whether it's just your hosts' names, whether it's your guests' names, you know, being able to leverage good old-fashioned graphics through smart panels is something that now is totally possible.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Great examples. Hopefully you've taken something away there. If you're interested in talking more about Tagboard Producer or smart panels, this is what we love to talk about, figuring out creative ways to tell stories. So we're always up for that conversation. You see the Facebook comments wherever they are. Drop one there, shoot us an email, find us on Twitter at Tagboard, and Christine and I will reach back out. But want to thank you for joining us. If you would like a recording of this, we'll be sharing it on the Tagboard blog. We'll also be sending it to every single person who registered for the webinar. And we are grateful that you decided to join us on Facebook, because this was way more fun than using webinar software. And we're excited to take the next step with you. That was a weird way to end it. Why don't you follow that up with something?
Thanks, guys, for joining us. I look forward to hearing from you and brainstorming with you, and we will see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.